Yeah, and I think this is what you didn't see in the news, in Amanda's news, Mike, is
Barbers.
Barbara, Connie.
Honey.
What I mean, I talk a lot on social media about the potential changes, the proposals, but what I don't talk about a lot is like the sunsetting of the current benefits. So right now we get these benefits like 20% of certain income is tax-free, are lower tax rates. And so the opposite could be true, where if nothing changes, like Congress can't get their act together, nobody agrees on anything, if nothing changes, a lot of these current benefits are going to expire as of the end of 2025.
Welcome to Our Family Invests, the podcast where successful couples come together to share their inspiring stories of balancing family, life, and business. We're Mike and Caroline Neubauer, husband and wife entrepreneurs striving to live our best lives with our family at the center. This podcast celebrates the couples who inspire us, invest in each other, and raise those around them to the next level. Join us as we explore their challenges and victories. Let's learn, share, and grow together. All right, today we are super excited to be sitting here with Matt MacFarland and Amanda Hahn, the tax strategy titans who are about to obliterate everything you think you know about CPAs. And when we say these two aren't your average accountants, we mean they're more like financial wizards. I mean, you may have seen them on NBC or Money Magazine, BiggerPockets, or even talks at Google. They're even members of the Forbes Finance Council, and most importantly, they're real estate investors themselves. So not only are they the Jedi Masters of tax strategy for real estate investors, but they have the real world hustle to back it up. But what we really love most about Matt and Amanda is how absolutely genuine they are. They're super involved parents helping to coach their sons' baseball and basketball teams, and even the founders of the nonprofit Animals for Armed Forces Foundation that helps unite pets with service members. They're among our favorite people on the planet, and we couldn't be more honored to have them here. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, guys, I want to peel the onion back a little bit, okay? So humor me if you will, but like if we were to take away all your professional achievements, no CPA license, no book deals, no speaking gigs, all that fun stuff, who would Matt and Amanda be? And I want Matt, I want you to tell me first, who would Amanda be? And then Amanda, tell us who Matt would be.
Well, you're making me comfortable right off the bat.
Yeah, jump right in.
Oh my goodness. You know what?
Is this being recorded?
We
Did we
spoke
not
on
know?
stage. We spoke on stage at an event last year, and not for our session, but the session before they did that. They made the spouses introduce each other on stage. But we were like, oh, thank goodness we're not doing that. But here we are.
Yeah. Let me go to ChatGPT real quick. Who's Amanda Hahn? What am I feeling like? No CPA, no licenses, no business.
Just what you love about me, Jim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who's she on a
She asked me
Saturday
this.
morning?
She asked me this question every day, like 5 times a day. Like,
What do you love
Perfect.
about
Then you
me?
should be well versed.
yeah, I wish I had the answer down. What is she? A Saturday morning, she's sleeping in. If she doesn't have to get up for anything, she's not getting up. She doesn't want to hear about a baseball game and a basketball game at 9 a.m. She doesn't want to drive anywhere, so I'm the one driving on Saturdays. Make sure that's happening. She would eat dim sum and Chinese food all day long if she could. She is going to play video games with her kids, unlike me, because I don't have the patience to do that. What else? There's so many things. Where do we end?
Where do we start with the good stuff?
Yeah, she's very caring. Obviously, takes care of us very well. Thank you. That's it. You're not going to make me do it, Mike.
Well, I appreciate your candor, Matt.
Oh
Matt.
my gosh.
Yeah.
We're doing Saturday mornings. Matt loves to do everything sports related, as you guys know, with the kids. So he's up before anyone is up, and he's already busy packing the car for a day full of things, like all the sports. Like I said, anything you name, he's doing it. And yes, I sleep in because then we don't have what is it, controversy, where I'm like, you're too loud, so he lets me sleep. He does always pack a chair for me because he knows that, I want to be comfortable at the game. So
Is that why I do it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
which is it's really funny because other parents will say that, like, your husband is so sweet because if we, during the day games, he'll make sure there's shade for me. And the night games, he makes sure I have like the heat pad so I'm not super cold. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Not a tax person. I'm not sure what else you do.
That's hilarious. I love this. This is going to
doesn't
lead
like
to
to cook.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to lead to deeper conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah.
jump into something that you do know. Walk us through your first date. Who asked who out? Where did you go? And who paid? Because I'm sure there's some kind of CPA level negotiation strategy on that.
Okay, you
First date.
Did you remember?
Yeah, that's why I said you go. I want to know.
This is a test.
Is this the most?
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, this is the most uncomfortable podcast.
When are we talking about taxes?
Are you guys aren't coming back, are you?
See, where are we talking about real estate
He's
professional?
like, I was going to say, so for real estate professional, you have to have at least 500 hours
Right.
managing your properties.
Okay.
And Amanda will count them.
Yeah.
All right. So first time we hung out outside of work because we used to work together. We still work together. This is the story of our life. First time we hung out outside of work, she was working in the Orange County office for tax season. She flew back to Vegas because that's where she grew up. My friend and I were going to be in Vegas that weekend already, so I talked her into meeting us at, I don't know, House of Blues, where we were after our concert or whatever we went to. So that's where we hung out the first time outside of work. But then our first official date was maybe a week later back in Orange County. I took her to a dive bar in Newport Beach called Mutt Lynch's, for anyone listening. Mutt Lynch's.
And there was
Big schooners of beer.
There's
Best place.
Homeless-ish looking
That's
people.
exaggeration.
Like only bar stools. I was kind of like, what are we doing here? This is so strange for a date.
We may have sat on the beach. I don't know that.
Yeah, we did.
We may have.
We did. And then, just so you guys know, for our first date, or one of our first dates, because it's like you're not allowed to date, right? At work, you're not supposed to date coworkers. And we actually ran into two other coworkers that were like
That first day, wasn't it?
So we're kind of like, well, we didn't see you if you didn't see us.
Nice.
Keep walking by.
Perfect. And did Matt foot the bill at the dive bar with the non-homeless people?
I would imagine I did. Yes.
I'm sure that's the least he could do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, getting less strange.
Wow.
Great.
All right. So then where did the wedding proposal come in? Like, was that spontaneous or was that well planned out? Like,
That was right after the dive bar.
Did you cry? It was the same night.
Yeah. Oh, Mike is really just going deep here.
Yeah, I think Matt's gonna just leave.
Last one, I promise.
Okay, so
I'm gonna ask you about CPA stuff next. I promise.
Yeah. She won't remember this, but we started dating in March of 2001.
How do you determine that date? Like, is that a specific date?
Yeah, it's just March of 2001.
Okay.
That was the month. And then the wedding proposal happened on, I don't know, December 5th, 2003. It might be off a day or two, but we went to dinner down in Newport Beach. They had Fashion Island Shopping Center. They have a huge Christmas tree, so I did it in front of the Christmas tree.
Nice.
Nobody cried.
Yeah.
It would be a room.
I mean, I just have to say, Matt cried so hard in the proposal that he could not see because he's wearing glasses and they were all like foggy.
I don't think I was wearing glasses at that point. I think you could just see. You might have been like in the picture. You could see a tear on the face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we had a random person take pictures of us.
Well, no, I set that up. Obviously, I said, "Hey, can you take a picture of us?"
Oh yeah,
'Cause
it's an unknowing
Smart
person.
like that. Yeah. This is before selfie days. You know, like you couldn't.
Well, nowadays when people get engaged, they hire like professional photographers to hide in the bushes and then they come out, right?
Yeah.
So back then we were poor. We were just like,
so funny. Yeah.
hey, excuse me, can you
Hey,
take a photo?
I need a picture in front of the tree. Thanks.
Were you surprised, Amanda, when he asked?
Yes, I was very surprised. I didn't even know we were dating. I was like, do I even like these guys? Like, what is going on?
She's lying. Okay, I need to get out of here.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But I was really surprised. I was surprised because I didn't know he was ring shopping or anything.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I was pretty
How long had you been dating? Not
Well,
dating,
since
but dating.
2001, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So tell Miss Caroline to do the math. That's why we
Yeah.
gave you the dates.
Yeah, that's why we hire accountants.
Yeah, I pay for a CPA, remember?
Right. My
They
apologies.
don't math.
like Matt did the math again.
Matt, tell me one more time.
The math and the driving. Set.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's jump into business. Let's make Matt more at ease. Keystone CPA. What does it do? Why did you guys start it? And whose idea was it? And when did you know to leave your W-2?
So we both worked at a Big Four accounting firm. She left to go kind of work at a private firm. I went to a smaller CPA firm. Got exposed. There's probably different stuff that we were used to at a Big Four, and so it was kind of like, oh, these are a lot of real estate investors. These are people entrepreneurs? These are small business people.
It was like a company that was associated with Robert Kiyosaki at the time. And
Obviously,
so when like how we got into real estate was actually because Matt worked for the firm that was like the Kiyosaki advisors. So he would go to these, like speaking events, and that was where we learned about like real estate and investing. So I feel like we didn't start Keystone until we realized that we were going to do real estate.
Hmm.
And starting out, we were like, oh, we're going to quit our job and do real estate full time. But then we realized,
paint a picture. This is like 2007, 2008. So the market's still going up, right? So everyone's a successful real estate investor at that point in time.
yes,
Yeah.
it was great to go
Yeah.
on the seminars. And then, so we like, I think we quickly realized that we really still enjoyed helping people with taxes. So even though in our mind we were like not doing taxes, but when we go to events, we talk to people about taxes. And so we started our firm, 2008. So it's kind of like the worst possible thing because you start your firm at the beginning of the real estate crash, announcing that you're a CPA for real estate investors. And then I got pregnant around that same time.
That was
No,
actually 3
like a
years later.
year later.
So she can't do math either. So, all right. So you have to edit all this stuff out, dude.
Well, I felt like I was pregnant around that time.
Right, right.
Anyway, I guess for us, the startup period spans 3 years, if what it felt like was 3 years.
Yeah.
Just struggling to start a business when real estate was doing really bad.
Yeah. The funny thing was that we got into it with the idea that, hey, we're not going to do taxes. Like we've been doing that for 10, 15 years. But we're going to do due diligence for commercial real estate investors, people buying apartments and
Hmm.
deals. And so we'll get a piece of the pie and we'll just have a bunch of pieces of pies and we can just do that. That's what we'll do. And then obviously the market tanked and we said, well, we need to go back to doing what we're good at, which is taxes.
Well, and then we also realized we didn't know how to do due diligence,
Right.
right? Just because you're an accountant and you do tax does not mean
Yes.
you know how to do due diligence or you know how to negotiate deals. And then we were kind of like, yeah, we didn't really like doing any of that stuff.
But when we started it, I guess interesting point is we had talked to a colleague who, financial industry, he did it, started out on his own too, or went out on his own. And he had said, like, it's going to take you a lot longer to make the same amount of money as you were making at a W-2 job. A lot longer than you think it's going to take. And
And he was right.
man, he was right. It took, I mean, she was saying, we started at '08. We had our first son in 2011. And we sent him to daycare at 6 weeks old, like, because there was no other option. We're working, right? Like,
Right.
and so, I mean, yeah, 3-4 years, like before we were kind of like, okay, we can breathe again. Like,
Yeah. And so you guys do now you're kind of focused mostly on tax strategy stuff, right? Like,
Yeah, I feel like we've always been like more real estate tax strategy. But I think, people are always just like, well, I just need my tax return filed. So for us, it's been like a long process to really just educate people in general. Like, yes, you have to file your tax return, but it's more important for you to do planning because that's how you save on taxes. I feel like
Sure.
a lot of our time is just educating people on the importance of tax planning because I think a lot of people think it's not a necessity. I just need to get my tax returns filed.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. And I think, we fall into that same trap too, because I mean, I had heard you both, I think, Amanda, I know I heard you on BiggerPockets years and years and years ago. And I remember calling you guys up. We had like one property at the time. And it was like, I went through the intro call and it was just, whoa, we're way out of our league. We don't need anything like this. Because I think that there's this misconception, right? That tax strategy is for wealthy, super high end, business owners, real estate investors, whatever, that own thousands of units. And that's couldn't be further from the truth. So, that first intro call that I did, I was, okay, this is not for us. And then I called a few years later when we were a little bit more stable and we went through um, and I called because our accounting company that we were using at the time, I just felt like they just weren't understanding what we were trying to do. And we were looking at this tax bill of like $60,000. And I'm like, man, guys, how is it possible that we need to pay this much money? Let's call Amanda and see what she says. And so we went through the process, and I remember, getting on probably a couple weeks later, getting on a Zoom call with these guys and with you. And these guys were literally, I don't know if you remember this, Amanda, but the guys on the other end of the Zoom call were literally sweating.
I
Like,
remember.
yeah, the questions that you were asking were like, well, why aren't you doing this? And why, what
Yeah.
what is this for? And how come you're not taking advantage of this? And these guys were, I mean, within weeks, we cut ties with them and we went all in with you guys. And that helped reduce our tax bill to zero from $60,000. So like the benefit
Cut. That's it. That's all we need to hear today.
yeah. So
That's it.
sign up with Matt and Amanda.
Send me this recording, please. Put on my website.
But I'm sure like you work with hundreds of real estate investors, and I'm sure that this is not a uncommon story, right? I think that there's a lot of people that just don't understand the benefit of having somebody that really understands like this is your niche, right? Like that's it. Tax strategy for real estate
That's
investors,
it.
right? So
That's all you know, guys.
that this all I mean Matt doesn't even know well, we're not going to go into what he doesn't know. But
Long list, dude.
it's a long list.
Long list.
But what he does know is how to save money on taxes, right? And so like I assume like you probably have lots of stories like this, right?
Well, I was gonna say it's been a while since I thought about that meeting with your old tax people, and I have to say they're truly terrible people. And I think you said that you hired them for real estate, like
Yep.
specifically they were real estate people. But no, super common. I in fact just got off a call today with a new client, just like the one we did. This client was our first call, and he invited like three accountants on personal, real estate, and business, and it was like a big deal. I was like, I'm very intimidated. On my first time meeting the clients, is like there's three CPAs, but we already saw the returns. And it's a lot of the same things: no cost segregation, not claiming real estate professional, and it's like all they do is real estate. So yeah, the same question: Why did we not do this? Why did we not do that? You kind of have to say it nicely, right? Because we don't want to attack another professional, but yeah, I don't know why people are like, why? Why does this happen? I really I can't say, but we spoke at a doctor's conference a couple weeks ago, and something we brought up on stage is what I realized is doctors, they all specialize. I'm a GI doctor, I'm a nephrologist, cardiologist, dermatology. It's so common because medicine is complicated. But in taxes, it's super uncommon to have like a real estate CPA or like a restaurant CPA. That's almost unheard of. But we really should in our profession. We should have specialists because everything is so specialized.
And there's so many nooks and crannies with laws and litigations or regulations and things like that, and very state to state. So that does make sense.
Yeah.
As a tax strategy firm focused on real estate investors and being real estate investors yourselves, what kind of portfolio do you folks have? Do you invest in syndication, single family apartments? What does it look like?
Yeah, currently we invest in, we have some single families and we invest in syndication. So, the business is our main asset class, just because that's what we are good at, what we understand. But obviously, we have a lot of clients who are real estate investors, and so if that helps us find deals faster, obviously, right? Like
That's kind of how we started out. We were like, let's be real estate CPA so we can see everyone's numbers. I'm going to invest right next door to our most successful clients. But yeah, I feel like our portfolio has changed in as we change like in what I call different seasons of our lives. So, we started out being more hands-on with our rental properties. We started out like house hacking, where we did some house hacking with our own stuff. We turned our primary into a rental when we had kids and upgraded. So a lot more active when we were starting out pre-kids. And then we had kids and then we had started our firm. So I think right now we're in the season where more of our stuff is passive. We're just joking. Like, when was the last time we actually went to a property? Like, Matt rode his bike by one of our rentals in Vegas recently. And I was like, well, what happened? He's
She's
like,
like, did you take pictures?
yeah, he's
No,
like,
that's weird. I'm on bike. Like,
yeah, he's like, well, nothing. It was just a rental. I don't know. Like,
weird.
nobody's like,
There's a car out front. That's
yeah.
a good sign.
And so we're doing a lot more like syndications and just really a lot more passive. And I don't know, I feel like when the kids get older, we might get back into like the more active side. And then we see that with clients too, different seasons of their lives, they tend to go towards different types of properties depending on how much time and money they have.
Yeah, for sure. We're in a kind of a strange market right now. Do you see any opportunities like in the fringe investing opportunities or something being more mainstream in the future? Like, I mean, we're getting into a glamping resort thing that seems to be kind of hot, assisted living, co-living
Co-living.
spaces, right? I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah. I mean, all those things, like the more experienced type, even like for Airbnbs, glamping is sort of like Airbnb, right? It's like a lot of our clients that are doing the like different experience properties are the ones that we see doing really well.
We got clients doing like, they're doing midterm rentals now too. So,
A lot of
some are shifting from like they've got long-term rentals, but they're using the midterm rental to kind of, qualify a real estate professional, whatever, and kind of use that. So, yeah, the ADUs, obviously the backyard ADUs is a big one right now.
I feel like that's such a big one for a lot of. I mean, I think it's maybe more market specific. Like I don't know if Hawaii like allows. Oh yeah, of course the Ohanas, right? It's
Yeah.
Ohana home, whatever you call it. But yeah, like California, Seattle, a lot of our clients are like super focused on ADUs because
Sure.
it's just. I guess the numbers pencil out better, right? When you already own the land and you just add more units on it. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of those. More people getting into like we have a couple clients doing co-living, just a handful, not a lot, but that seems to be doing really well too. We just had somebody come on to our tax insider circle and talk about like her first co-living property and it sounded really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, the ADU thing I think is great, especially like you mentioned, California, Hawaii, Seattle, all of those states have passed litigation that makes it way easier to build ADUs and create,
Yeah.
income where there really wasn't as much of an opportunity possibly before. Do you guys see um any opportunities with investing in real estate overseas? Is there any benefit to US
I'm seeing that.
citizens investing overseas?
I mean, I guess from a tax perspective, the way they do it is more or less the same as U.S. properties. A big difference is like on depreciating a building, like a residential building US, we write it off over 27 and a half years. A foreign property got to write it off over like 40 years. So it's less depreciation. I say, I think it's not going to be properties you're hands on, obviously. So if you're going into real estate for tax benefits of using losses to offset other income, foreign properties may not be the way you're going to get there, but you could have it as part of your portfolio. I think if it pencils out and makes money, then why not, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, all right, I don't pay much attention. Neither of us pay really any attention to what's going on in the news. But I see, Amanda, you're amazing at social media and you post things all the time. And that's kind of where I get my news from. So I had saw some things,
That's scary.
but I saw
Edit-
something you
Cut that
posted
part
the
out
other
too.
day. Yeah. No, no,
I
this is
like that. I like that.
Amanda is my Barbara Walters online. Uh,
Can I take Connie Chung at least?
Connie Chung.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see more of a
You
resemblance
both
there.
Just because I'm Asian.
No, you need Connie Chung was never your age.
Oh,
Every time you've known Connie Chung, she was older than you. So
I know, but she was a hottie when she was young.
Okay.
Anyways,
Connie Chung.
sorry.
We'll go with Connie Chung.
Okay,
But
Connie Chung.
anyways, I get my news from you and what's going on politically. And it seems like there's a whole lot of randomness being thrown out there right now, right? By our current administration. Do you see any of that sticking? Do you see anything that's going to be affecting real estate investors in the next 3 to 5 years, like significantly?
I feel like Trump always surprises me. So I have to say, my initial reaction is no. A lot of just talk and probably nothing really tangible that will stick. However, again, he always surprises me. So maybe some of the stuff that's been talked about will actually stick. I know, for real estate investors, what most people care about is obviously bonus depreciation and talks of bringing it back to 100% for 2025. That's of all the ones that's been talked about, that one is probably has the highest likelihood of coming back because it's worked well in the past for not just real estate but just businesses in general, right? So people like that, and that I think my understanding is right now they're negotiating about tax changes. So hopeful that we know the decision sooner rather than later, hopefully April or May. Because the issue is we've also seen it where tax changes don't happen until close to the end of the year, in which case it's too late for anyone to make actual investment or business decisions, right, in December for the year. So I'm just hopeful that whatever comes out will come out earlier in the year. But yeah, some of the other stuff, I guess, I don't know, no tax on tips or Social Security, maybe some form or fashion. I think the latest one was people under $150,000 pay no tax. Gosh, that one I think is going to be very, very difficult to pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be challenges there for lots of that stuff. But looking back to his first administration, right? Like they passed the Tax Cut and Jobs Act that had a lot of things in it, but there was a couple things in there that were brand spanking new that like
Mhm.
was like, what is this? What's he talking about?
Yeah.
Like never done before. And so you ask that question, I'm like, I'm the opposite. I'm going to be shocked if something doesn't come out in the next 6 months. Like, I'm expecting something again brand new that, like, oh god, we're gonna have to spend 2 weeks learning, like memorizing this somehow in the middle of tax season to, like, figure out what's going on, and
You mean 2 years?
yeah, or something. I don't know, but
I was just on this webinar the other day with there was a lot of realtors and brokers, and I was telling them about this concept of QBI, qualified business income deduction, which a lot of people don't know. People don't talk about it, but basically, in the last round of changes, Trump came up with this thing, this new thing. It was like the first 20% of income is tax free, and it was strange. It applies to real estate, and these people were like, "Oh, never heard about that. Why is that?" I was like, "I don't know why that is. That was just the law changed. There was
she's been sleeping for 8 years. I don't know why that is.
so we had to spend a lot of time learning about like what is the definition, how do you qualify, what's the limit, and now that for CP, this is a CPA joke mainly, but now that we all understand it as CPAs, it's about to expire as of the end of this year. So it's like, well, we learned it all, and now it's moving on,
Gone.
going away.
Will it be valid for this year?
It's still valid for this year.
Yes.
Yes, and you guys use it.
And that's
Right.
and that's part of the push for getting a tax thing through, is because a lot of some of the stuff that was put in place in 2017 is set to expire at the end of 2025. So there's a little urgency there from that regard to get a tax bill pushed through.
Yeah, and I think this is what you didn't see in the news, in Amanda's news, Mike, is
Barbers.
Barbara, Connie.
Honey.
What we're talking, I mean, I talk a lot on social media about the potential changes, the proposals, but what I don't talk about a lot is like the sunsetting of the current benefits. So right now we get these benefits like 20% of certain income is tax free, are lower tax rates. And so the opposite could be true, where if nothing changes, like Congress can't get their act together, nobody agrees on anything. If nothing changes, a lot of these current benefits are going to expire as of the end of 2025. And so that just means automatically higher taxes for a lot of people, right? So that's the stuff we're not talking about in the news,
Yeah.
in Amanda's news.
Well, keep me up to date on that.
Okay, well, that's the latest. Perfect. You've written 2 books on tax strategies, which I've recommended, and a lot of people have already benefited. So thank you for writing those, and that they're easy to read and understand. What made you write those, and what has been the biggest impact you've seen from them?
She made me write them.
Let's just say I
It
wrote
was
them and
her
I put his
idea.
name on it.
Yeah, right. No, I wrote more of the second one.
Boring.
I got a little credit for the first one.
The first one is definitely more page turner.
She
I've
didn't
never
read
been told
either
that,
one
but that
of
makes
them.
total sense. She didn't read either one of them.
No, she did not. I did, however.
I get the digested version.
No, I think, to be honest, like, she did come up with the idea, obviously, but I think part of it was that there was other people out there writing tax books, right? But like, as a CPA, every time we read a tax book, it was very technical talk. It was very
Boring.
layered in code sections and regulations and things. And so it's like, well, let's can we come up with a book that, like, deals with a lot of the frequently asked questions and stuff we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and do it in a fun way. And that's kind of how we came up with, like, the idea of doing it like a story format. So
It's kind of like those Chicken Soup for the Soul book. I don't know if you guys ever read those. So I love those.
I mean, she hasn't. Mike's read them, but he tells me about them.
I think that the opposite is true on that one. I haven't
Okay.
read them.
They're like
She-
1-pagers, and I can handle that.
Yes, see, me too. Me and Caroline the same.
Yeah.
So like I love those. It's like little stories, and I learned something. Like, this is great. So it's kind of like initially I was like, can we do a chicken soup for the tax person's soul, or something like that. But of course I didn't approach the chicken soup franchise. But yeah, that was kind of how we started. Like let's talk about some client stories that we thought was really interesting, and I think people can learn better that way. Like I can relate to Mike the investor, because that's kind of like me. But I don't know, like, the biggest change it's done for us. I mean, nothing really like life changing. I remember when the book came out, BiggerPockets told us like, book came out today, and then we went to Subway for lunch like we do every day. And Matt was like expecting people to ask for signatures and such. And I was like, nobody is reading a tax book about real estate, like just almost no one.
She's making this up.
It's totally ridiculous, delusional.
You bought a 6-pack of Sharpies for the Subway.
Right.
But I think we get a little bit of like stardom. People are like, "Oh, you wrote the book," but it's not to the extent of.
Well, I mean, we probably told you this, personally, but like, we did happen. Our older son Austin was probably 4 or 5 at the time, and we were in Barnes and Noble, and just it's like, let's go through the business section.
There's one copy of our
And there
book.
was our book was right there, and so I pulled him over. I'm like, hey, I showed him our names at the bottom. I'm like, what's that say? And eyes lit up. Like, it's cool.
There's a picture of us in the back in the original publication. So
I love
yeah,
that.
so that was pretty cool.
It was cool that what they did recently was, so I guess on the first book, it's been around longer, so it's sold more, and it's more of a page turner, as you so eloquently put it. But they started putting like, hey, this one has sold over 100,000 copies, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not a book author, like I don't do this all the time, so that sounds pretty cool to me, like that you've sold
You
100,000
actually
books.
are a book author,
Yeah.
Matt.
I know. I was just like, what is he talking about? I'm not a book author.
I mean, I'm not John Grisham coming out with a book every
No,
6 months
because he didn't write it. See, that was a comment I wrote.
There it is again.
You're going.
But you know what's so funny, you guys, about the book? This is so funny. Is like we'll go to events and we'll like meet clients for the first time face to face, right? Because like like with you guys, like we met online first, and so we meet clients face to face, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, will you sign my book?" And I'm like, "We sign your tax return every year. It is literally the same signature." But sure, I'll sign the book too.
I love that. Do we have signatures?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in each of our books, and then there's a little card in each one that
Oh
says,
yes, I do
leave
love
us a
the
review
card.
on Amazon.
I don't think she's listening because you just told her she has her tax return with a signature.
Right.
Yeah.
But she also
Yeah, I'm
yes,
gonna
leave
frame
us a
it.
review on Amazon.
Yeah.
I think I've done that too. I'll have to check. Hey family, real quick. If you would prefer to watch your content, head on over to Our Family Invests on YouTube. You can watch this podcast and more over there. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little bell icon too to make sure you never miss an episode. And now, back to the show. So obviously you seem perfect at everything, especially Matt. Have you ever failed at anything?
Well, are we doing the one for each other again?
No.
You can do it for
You
yourself.
want to talk about the things that Matt failed on?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Failed this morning.
How much time do we have?
Today when he forgot to buy me lunch. That was a
At
failure.
Subway?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm so
No. I got to eat my lunch an hour later than I was supposed to because something got added in my calendar that I wasn't aware of. That kind of thing, So it's not I forgot her.
So it's still coming.
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah.
Dinner.
Yeah, because she loves Subway.
From a failure, I don't know. Gosh,
What
so
did we
many.
fail? Oh, yeah, I
Well,
don't-
we had an investment failure I can share, and you could think about other life failures. But investment failure, when we started out, one of our first investments was in a syndication deal, multifamily. Because again, we were like, this was before we actually owned our own real estate. We're like, let's just go into apartments to start it off. And so we invested in the syndication, this guy that we knew, like we just thought he was like adorable. And apparently he didn't know what he was doing. And then we realized, oh, we actually don't know him. So I was like with my 401k money of all monies, because I was like, didn't have a lot of cash and we lost all of it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And so-
Yeah, it was
So I always tell clients don't see somebody on stage talking about great things, a number of doors, and just like take that to be truth and put your money with them. You always have to do due diligence on the person, on the deal, just like any other property. Because I think we tend to fall victim to the stardom of somebody on stage. They must be right and knowledgeable.
Yeah. I think, I think there should be like a little bit of a caveat with that too, though, because I feel like right now with syndications, there's a lot of people that are good people, that are good syndicators that are struggling, right? Like we've seen a lot of our investments, they've either paused distributions or we're getting capital calls on one. In fact, it's funny because the one that we're getting capital calls on is we invested through a 401k, so like it was our first investment on that. And it's like, and this one, like I did my due diligence on the guy before we invested with him. And he's the only guy that we've ever invested with that we didn't really know personally beforehand. But I really liked his strategy and how vertically integrated the company was and all this kind of stuff. We invested with them, I think $100,000. And literally the day after we closed on that deal, they sent an email out saying there was a fire last night and 40 of our units were burned down.
Are you serious?
Cool. Yeah. So we've never seen any distribution on this one. And now they're going with capital calls on it. And this was like, I think 2022 when we invested in this one. So yeah, but still very adorable guy. We're
By
still
watching
hoping
this.
not to lose everything on it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think, syndicators are not like, Superman, right? They're subject to, like, even though they're good, even the really good ones are subject to the same interest rate issues, inflation concerns, all the same stuff that we have. It's just on a larger scale. And I feel like for syndicates, sometimes we're like, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so I feel really mad. But that's why you invest in syndications, because you didn't want to do anything. You wanted to be passive and, hands off. So I think it works both ways. You're passive when things are good. You remain passive when things are bad. You're only
Yeah.
there just for capital calls
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
money is needed.
Yeah.
Did Matt have something he wanted to share?
Failures.
Failure?
I feel like I fail all the time. It's just
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody about it. She tells me I fail. She's
You fail all the time, and
didn't-
yet you're signing my
Yeah.
tax
Better.
return.
yeah, you do better.
Better.
Suck less.
I like that, but nicely.
Yeah, yes,
No,
it's close.
those are the words.
Yeah, I don't know. It's. I mean, I've been, at jobs where I could have performed better at, like probably a lot of people, right? Like you had some bad investments. I don't know. There's lots of things that fail
I
at.
think that's actually pretty good and telling of your personality too, Matt, because you not to glaze over, you've had struggles and you guys hustled and you made Keystone where it is today through sacrifice, but also nothing has stood out where it's been unsurpassable. Like you've weathered the storms and it hasn't really, there's no point where it's like, okay, we're done. So that's a good sign.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was last night when we said we were done. I'm just kidding.
And there
No, I think that is actually something that you know as a strength I can tend to deal with things like better than probably she does. Like negative Nelly over here, when something happens, it's like the end of the world, So it's a balancing act of trying to bring her back off the ledge. We're not gonna,
Like if
or
I
it's not
have a
ending.
if I find like one client complain about something in our process, I'm just like, oh my God, how long has this been happening? This is the most terrible. Everybody hates us. We have to revamp the whole thing. And Matt's like, that's okay. That's like one person. They didn't want to do it that way. And we just do it another way. And I'm like, no, no, everybody hates it. I'm pretty sure of it. So we have these kinds of conversations where like I go from 0 to 1,000 and he's good at just like, let's just calm down. It's not.
yeah.
Or I just let her keep going because she'll finish at some point.
That's
Yeah,
that's a good skill set.
Awesome. Guys, you've done so much stuff. How would you define success now? And has that definition changed over time?
Oh man, that's so funny. That's a good question. I think, and I have this with clients too, like, gosh, we've already done so much. What's next? What do you keep doing? And I feel like,
yeah. Are you writing a third book? Hint, we're not.
yeah, I feel like success is just like a ever moving target. At least for me, it's like, I don't know, there's always something else that I'm like, that's where we want to accomplish or we want to do or get done.
Yeah, I mean we have goals and things for the business, 10-year visions and all that kind of good stuff. Um, but yeah, I know I think success for us, or at least I don't know, I'm not speak for her, but for me is like working a 9 to 5, working for somebody else, like kind of learning the entrepreneurial spirit. Like I got into this for kind of the ability for it to be a lifestyle to some extent, right? Like we are fortunate to have her mom lives with us. My mom's 5 minutes from us. Like kids are busy, but we have that ability to kind of juggle all that and not have to, get permission per se to leave at 5 o'clock every day or whatever the case may be. So, do we leave and do I come back to work at 8 o'clock at night? Yeah, of course I do. But that's what we wanted, and so that's to me that's a success because we can do that with our family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love the Gap in the Gain book. Because I think I'm someone who likes to live in the gap all the time, like always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? So I think Matt's really good at because he always lives in the game, like the positivity and they're like, look how much we've done. Whatever we accomplish, I immediately forget. I'm like, oh well, let's go to the next thing. So
It's called keeping up with the Newbowers.
yeah.
No way. I think we're really good at living in the game too. And that's something where we probably should look more at the gap.
I don't think that's how the
Everyone's still
book's not
going.
about that.
Come hang out with me.
No,
The gain and the gap.
yeah.
The gap's getting bigger, guys.
I love that. And I love the balance that you two have where you're both very skilled and well versed in what you do and talented, but also you're very opposite but complementary, but also necessary for those balances. So I love that. I appreciate that.
Me too. Me too. You guys have such a good balance between your work and your family life. I think that's really important to note as well. And I think, you get to see so many successful entrepreneurs and what they do in their businesses, and obviously you have intimate knowledge of how they're actually doing, whether it's similar to what they're showing on Facebook or not. But what is the common thread that you would say is most prevalent between successful real estate investors?
I think I feel like 2 things. One is continuous learning. I mean, anyone I know to be successful are people that are always, like, learning themselves. And then I think the other thing is just taking action. All the successful people I know are not, like, just learning, but they're learning and then they implement, like, almost right away, almost simultaneously. And I think, like, those 2 kinda go hand in hand, right? Like, if you're just taking action without knowledge, then it's
Yeah.
kind of difficult to be super successful. But if you just have knowledge without action, that's that's there's no result. So I think those 2 are probably like the common thread amongst all like successful people that we work with and that we know too. I don't know.
I mean, to me, I think it's people they have those other pieces, right? To like, they know what they're not good at, and so they've gone out and got that person as part of their team, and they know what their strengths are, but then they utilize those other people, and um, investing, business, whatever you want to call it, right? It's not a do-it-yourself thing by any stretch of the imagination. So you definitely need to figure out what you're good at and where you need to get people to improve your other areas for sure.
Are there any books, mentors, or experiences that have been transformational that stand out to either of you in shaping where you guys are today?
So good. I mean, obviously early on we did read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was kind of like eye-opening book, I think, for a lot of people our age, at least in this industry. And
Yeah, because it was weird, right? Because up until that point, you're just in that mentality of like, oh, I got my degree, I got a job at a Big 4, and this is great. Like, I've
Right.
accomplished
I've
it.
made it.
I've made it. There's nothing else. So really, like, even, like, for accountants, you know what? They should really make accountants read Rich Dad Poor Dad, like, in school, because then you help your clients to think differently too. Gosh, so many, Who Not How is one of my favorite books, kind of to what Matt was talking about is just to grow really looking at who can do the stuff rather than trying to do everything yourself because I tend to be someone who likes to dabble in all things myself, so that's a good. I don't know how much of that I've actually like absorbed and implemented, but I like the book.
yeah, no, that's hard. That's hard. I mean, we do read lots of books, been to lots of events, obviously.
We were part of this group called Maui Mastermind. There's now the new Maui Mastermind, but this originally long time ago was another community called Maui Mastermind. It was a lot of business owners and real estate investors. And we were part of that group before we left our jobs. So we were just like working. And again, because Matt was one of the advisory team through his job. And I think that really helped us for our business. Like we started out and we hired somebody like almost right away to help with like admin and sales and all that. Whereas I think most firms, at least for CPAs, it's like you start out, you do everything yourself, and you don't really hire anybody unless you absolutely have to. I think that's made a huge difference. Like we learned to specialize in something, be unique, be different than most CPAs, and then hiring and learning to scale earlier on. I think that kind of changed our business from like the regular CPA.
Yeah, that was kind of funny because remember when we hired her, it was like that was a big deal to us. It was like, she came on as a virtual assistant, right? But it was like what are we doing? Wait, we would just hire somebody? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we got to manage people now? Like, what? Like, but it was the right first step for sure.
Tell us about the Animals for Armed Forces Foundation, because I don't hear you guys talk about that very often.
No, we don't talk about it a lot. It was a little it was called a baby project of ours. I used to volunteer at a local animal shelter here in Orange County, and my dad was in the military, my stepdad was in the military, and so I happened to be driving by the shelter one weekend. It might have been around Veterans Day, I think, Veterans Day weekend. I was like, all right, that'd be cool if they had adoption event where military families, current and past, could come and adopt animals for free or a discount or whatever. Help get animals out of the shelters. And so at that point in time, I just approached the shelter that I was volunteering at with the idea, and they loved it. And so Keystone sponsored that first event. And
So
then,
we were the donors.
yeah, we were the donors. And then after that, we formed the foundation. But it's been going on for about 10, 12 years now. I think we've placed over 2,000 animals with military families.
And Matt's on TV sometimes, like the local
It's been a long time, but
like
Better
he's
get some
on
more
the
Sharpies,
news.
Matt.
yeah.
Yeah, he's on the news like with little puppies and stuff. And
Aw.
because we had our own dogs at the time, and I don't know, just kind of like they required a lot of surgery and medical expenses,
Right.
and we always felt bad, like wow, we're spending so much money on our dogs when there are so many animal like shelter animals that this money could be used to like adopt them, right, and give them homes too, rather than just like my special dogs. And so that was the other part of it. We were like, well, let's then also do well, like what can we do to really help shelter animals too, and that's part
So
of it.
what we kind of the foundation under like twice a year the foundation underwrites special adoption event. We typically work with shelters in Southern California, local to us, but where the foundation will cover the cost of the adoptions, usually Memorial Day weekend, Veterans Day weekend, obviously. And but yeah, it's kind of a little side project of ours, I guess. But it's something that kind of sticks close to the heart.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Animals can bring so much comfort to anyone. So I love that. How do you find the time to, run a foundation, nonprofit, coach baseball, bring Amanda lunch, be foodies, be everything to everyone all at once, and run Keystone? Like, how does that work?
Moms.
Yeah, grandmas.
Moms, yeah, the grandmas, they do all the other stuff.
My mom, believe it or not, she thought it would be okay to go on a 2 week cruise in the middle of tax season. It's like, hey, grandma, what are you doing? Like, it's not your first rodeo here, Like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Should've
Did you
taken my
go?
kids.
oh, she went, yeah. There's no stopping her.
She's gone now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think our team here at work is, phenomenal. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. So they, obviously do all the tax stuff. They help us prepare for meetings. They help with follow up after the meeting. So that our time is just focused like more. It's getting more and more focused just on the strategy side. So we
Great.
don't have to do like a lot of the nitty gritties of the thing. So I think those two things are probably most important.
There's a lot of balancing, a lot of logistics, but
Yeah. No Netflix, sleep less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
a lot
guys
of
share a
Diet
calendar?
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Are you back on Mountain Dew?
Oh, it's tax season. Come on, Caroline.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Was he
right.
ever off?
He
I was.
was.
Mike,
And then
Mike
they
put me
ruined
back on the
it.
wagon,
Yeah.
or off the wagon, or whatever.
I feel
Yeah.
so bad about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we share? Yes, so we share a calendar. I mean, I guess we don't share a calendar, but we have access to each other's calendar. So
Yeah.
it's like a simultaneously looking at each other's calendars all the time. Because we put everything on the work calendar. It's like,
Yeah.
But I've been thinking we need one of those, like, I keep seeing these on social media. It's like those flat screen TVs you stick next to your kitchen. It just has a calendar on it, so everybody in the household can see their calendar. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea.
I know.
Touch screen? Is it
I
touch
looked
Yeah,
at
touch screen, like,
Yeah, and they sync to your phones. I looked at those a while ago and they were like 700 to 1500, so maybe that's changed.
yeah.
And if it's used, then it's worthwhile.
It's a great idea.
Yes.
can you just put like a $99 tablet and then just
Yeah.
Hang
send me
it
out
on
a calendar
your
page?
Displayed on a bigger screen, because
Yeah,
99,
like
I can't read
bigger.
that. Yeah, it's too small.
Put on the TV, cast
What?
it to the TV.
Yeah. There you go. That's easy enough. What advice would you have for young entrepreneurs just starting out?
Gosh, so many.
Just do. I mean, go out and do it, right. Like, being an accountant and somebody who is self-proclaimed anal retentive, you can get bogged down in the details and the analysis paralysis, right, of real estate or whatever it might be. Just go out and do it and figure it out from there. Like,
Yeah, and I would say just try different things. Even within entrepreneurship, a lot of times we start out thinking we'll do something, but we end up something slightly different or totally different. Kind of like when we quit working, we thought we were going to, be like a general partner in a big syndication, but we ended up not doing that, but still something complimentary. It's better than what, we imagine we would be doing. So don't get so stuck on this is where I'm going to do. Be flexible and kind of change as you test those things too.
Yeah. Do you have any house rules for working together that other couples might find funny or useful?
No, but we should.
The house rules, Amanda's always right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Get with the program. No. Yeah, what are like house rules? We don't. I mean, I'm trying to think.
We're not good at staying off our phone, so we could be better at that.
Did you say?
Oh, we do
your
have
phone?
no, our phone. He's always
Okay.
on his phone.
Yeah, and she's never on her phone.
I don't know what my phone is.
Yeah, all right. It's just recording her as she speaks right now.
We did have a new, I don't know if it's a rule, but we did start having this new thing, tradition, like this, what do you call it? Family tradition.
Family
On
tradition.
Sunday nights,
I like it.
where Matt gets to choose what we do every Sunday.
That was the first week. That was.
I was like, we're gonna just get the family every Sunday night. And then we switched it around because the kids didn't like what he chose. And so we said, okay, now that every Sunday we rotate. So each of us gets to choose something fun for the family to do every
I
Sunday.
like that.
So what did you do this past Sunday?
What did we do this past? Oh, trampoline. So Austin's turn. So we did family trampoline time.
Love that.
And then we played a little board game. No, that was crazy. Austin was like, we're doing flips and we're doing this and that. And
There's no like 0 to, it's 0 to 60 with him. It's
I was like, can we just jump?
Jump
Can you
gently. Not hurt us, please.
Gently be
Jump
jumping.
gently in our box. I love that. I think that's great. I bet the kids really love that too.
So I also had a new rule starting last week is that you also cannot complain when it's not your turn to pick because that tends to happen. People like complain about other people's picks. So yeah. So it's like if you complain, the bedtime is at 8:00.
I like that. Matt probably wants to complain then.
That's like, all right.
Wow.
This sucks. Bye.
That's good. Okay.
All right. All right. Well, we're kind of working on this new segment of the podcast. Actually, we just don't have a good way to end podcasts. So we're starting a new segment, and it's called Tax Questions of the Rich and Famous. And I'm starting it today. So you guys are the initial guinea pigs here. But I've got a few questions that I want to ask you. These are, from some of my friends. And I just want to see how you would advise them as tax strategists. All right. All right.
This got to be good.
Yeah. So one of my friends wants to purchase a property in a state with legal cannabis cultivation. Now, how do you navigate the complex tax implications of a federally illegal but state sanctioned business?
Good
Well,
question.
So
So this is a tax question.
as friends.
Yes, and it's not any of you guys. I mean, you have to pay taxes on all income, whether legal or illegal. So it's actually pretty simple for tax purposes. You're going to pay taxes on the whole thing, even if it's like, something that's not legally allowed to do. But I think that also the question probably is more for an attorney, like how do you actually operate an illegal business?
Yeah. 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 We're only looking at the tax strategy side here.
Yeah. So you're good.
Which is the same. You're going to pay taxes on all of it.
But it's not you. You're not just saying we're looking at it.
No.
The friend's looking at
I'm
that.
asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another friend.
Yeah. So another friend of mine is insistent on paying their rent with Taco Bell gift cards. Now, how would you advise the landlord to report that income?
I
Or
mean,
would they have to?
technically speaking, the landlord should be reporting those gift cards as income. Would anybody do that? Probably not. But but yes, technically, if you're getting bartering is income. If you're receiving something like that for a service, it's supposed to be reported,
Yeah.
just like your cannabis. I mean, your friend's cannabis.
Yeah.
Right.
And to make that more relatable in this day and age, it would probably be egg dealing. And I wonder what kind of value would you put on an egg?
An egg?
Yeah.
Oh, because
Like
we
if
have
you're
an
paying-
egg shortage right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Hay and eggs. Yeah. I mean, we'll accept it.
I would too, actually.
As long as it doesn't come with chickens.
Now, are you going to buy cannabis with eggs? That's
can
the
you do that?
question.
Okay, so another friend of mine, he wants to convert an abandoned warehouse into the world's largest urban alpaca breeding farm. And it's right next to a downtown skyscraper. Okay, so are there any unique tax credits that might exist for ag innovations in urban spaces?
Quite possibly.
I don't know about urban spaces specifically, but when you do, like farming, agricultural type of stuff, there's usually pretty good tax incentives associated with it. I think, what a lot of people don't know actually is because we have clients who are like, oh, I'm going to invest in like a farm and I'm going to get all the tax benefits. But just like real estate, you have to be actively involved in it. So it's not just like I'm going to throw my money at this farm that's, out of state and I'm not doing anything with it and that will offset all of my income. So just something to watch out for. Like there's still passive activity limitations with respect to different types of investments. And even if we're not talking about a farm, we're talking about just raising the animals themselves. It's kind of the same thing, right? Like, are you actively involved in this specific business or investment?
To segue from that, because you're talking about egg, so if you have egg and you lease out the farm, would you still get those benefits if you're not doing the physical hands-on?
Probably not like the farming credit type of stuff, but in that scenario, then it's probably just like rental real estate, right? So I'm just a landlord. I'm renting it out. And so if I'm a real estate professional, then I'm taking depreciation and, if there's any, right, on that land improvement stuff.
Makes sense.
Interesting. All right, next scenario. Okay, I got 2 more scenarios for you. So another friend of mine is thinking about purchasing this massive desert property, and he wants the intention of it is to create a potential UFO landing site. Now, one is not in use. He wants to be able to generate agricultural or solar energy income. How would you approach the tax classification and potential write-offs of an investment like that?
So it's a UFO landing space, but when it's not being occupied,
Or aliens.
when it's not occupied, it's a what?
Yeah, ag land and
farm.
solar.
A solar farm. Okay. Oh.
Well, to me, that sounds like a very capital intensive business. So there would be some depreciation you're taking on those solar panels, or might be some credits you can get on it.
That's probably the lead. I would say my main business is a solar farm. And then maybe I happen to also have UFO landings on there because that's less favorable for
Are you charging? Or is your friend charging the aliens to land, or is it free, or what is it?
I'm going to have to get back to you. I'll circle back on that.
Matt can't wait. All right, move on to your other friend.
Okay, so I have this other friend he wants to create this sustainable floating community in international waters. Part research station, part living complex, part renewable energy hub. What kind of tax strategies could apply to property that technically isn't even on land?
That's interesting because, I don't know the answer to this, but I feel like it would be tax free, right? Because on international waters, technically, you're not in any country subject to the rules.
But you do have to pay taxes on worldwide income. So
That's true. So I guess if you're a US resident, then you're still paying taxes on water income generated.
Unless you live on a boat in international waters.
So if you're not actually a resident.
this is what Caroline has to look forward to.
Hardly.
Floating.
So, honey, Nico's at a house. It's time to go to the boat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's segue from all of his friends and your CPA brains, because that probably just maxed it out. But you guys are amazing, truly. What's next for you both, professionally and personally? Because I know you guys have goals coming up too. And besides,
She put her arm around him. That's not the same thing.
besides getting over tax season.
Well, we've got some pretty big goals for the business. That kind of we want to be able to expand it and become like a one-stop shop for real estate investors, where we can offer, besides taxes, offer maybe insurance, financial planning, different specialties in the tax world too. So that's on the long-term horizon. What's next personally? You might be going to Europe in the summer. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, put it on the calendar. That's good enough for now.
And like trying to go to Japan in December, so we need all of your itineraries.
Yes.
Happy to share. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be so fun. You guys will have a blast.
Yeah.
They have Disneyland.
They do have Disneyland. We didn't go. Team Labs, though. Got to go to Team Labs. That is amazing.
Planets.
Team Labs.
Okay.
Or all the Team Labs, but Team Lab Planets. Awesome.
Okay.
All right, guys. So if our audience wants to connect with you or buy books or whatever, what's the best place to connect?
Our website's got a lot of great resources on it, a lot of free information. KeystoneCPA.com. Check us out there, or you can find her and me videoing her on social media.
Yes. Yep. I'm mostly on Instagram nowadays because I hear that's where the cool people are. I've abandoned my Facebook. I'm still on Facebook too, but Instagram, I'm pretty active on there. And then if you're looking for like longer form content on tax strategies, I also have a YouTube channel on both Instagram and YouTube. I am Amanda Han CPA.
I
Awesome.
love it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really are honored to have you guys here, and we're
And we
honored
love
to
you.
have you in our lives too. So thank you so much.
Thanks for being part of the family today. If you want to see more of our journey through our personal life, businesses, and adventures, give us a follow on Instagram at Our Family Invest.
If you like this podcast, share this episode with a friend. And if you really want to support us, we would be so grateful if you would leave us a review on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Your review helps us to reach a bigger audience and bring on more amazing guests. Thank you so much. We really, truly appreciate you.